defended against any consensus, any majority, anywhere, any place, any time. And anyone who disagrees with this, pick a number, get online, and kiss my ass.
What is it going to take to get people to get shots in arms?
I don't know. You tell me. Folks supposed to have common sense. But it's time to start blaming the unvaccinated folks, not the regular folks. It's the unvaccinated folks that are letting us down.
But as a leader of the state, don't you think it's your responsibility to try and help get this situation under control?
I've done all I know how to do. I can encourage you to do something, but I can't make you take care of yourself.
But I can do the opposite.
Yeah, really.
Police say they are really.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed are greater than the legal services provided by other lawyers. I'm Harry Steele. You found the Backstory Podcast, number 105. I have my client and partner in crime, Mr. Paul Ripp, in studio with me today. How are you, Mr. Ripp?
Glad to be here outside of the weather, a little cool and windy outside.
And Mr. Russian checking in from the Houston Bureau. How are things out there?
Well, other than us about to be swept by Atlanta in the World Series, things are pretty good. Oh, my fence and my orange tree fell down, but thank you, wind, cold front. But, you know, it's not 90 degrees, so I'll take what I can get.
Yeah.
Well, after going on television and making a spectacle of herself and being the darling of the Democrats, blaming unvaccinated people for this pandemic, Governor Ivey this week signed an executive order saying that no one in her administration or in the executive branch of government can do anything to enforce the COVID-19 vaccination requirements issued by OSHA.
Is that like giving the finger to the feds?
I don't know what it is. It's an election year.
I'll tell you what that is. That's grabbing Donald Trump by the ball sack is what that is and saying, help me, Savior. That's what that is.
Yeah.
Well, there it is if you want to read all of it.
What?
So conservatives blast Governor Ivey over vaccine mandate stance. This order did nothing. A federal vaccine mandate is expected to take effect in early December. Conservatives in Alabama want the state to fight it more aggressively than has occurred. And, of course, all the loons come out. Will Ainsworth, this issue of Biden's unconstitutional mandate will be decided by the court. So Alabama must file a lawsuit now. So guess what happened? Alabama filed a lawsuit.
Yep.
Attorney General Steve Marshall files a lawsuit to block Biden's federal contractor vaccine mandate. Well, that sure affects a lot of people. So then Ivey joins in after her stance on vaccination. She now doesn't want anyone to be mandated to be vaccinated.
Right.
Right.
Call that mixed messages.
While we're all grandstanding, State Senator Taxman Chris Elliott will not be left out.
Grandstander of the best.
19 co-sponsored bill granting medical religious exemptions to COVID-19 vaccine mandates. You know, this is the stand in the schoolhouse door, right,
that's
guys?
Exactly what it is.
It's a federal supremacy issue, and we're all just whizzing in the wind.
I'll tell you what, you say Camera, Hoss-Mack, and Elliott will show up. Those two will be there.
Well, Alabama House Speaker Mac McCutcheon says bills aimed at vaccine mandate are not part of the special session. So right now, or Thursday and Friday, our Alabama legislature was called into special session to redraw the district lines based on new census data. And that's a look at what our congressional districts are pretty much going to look like. And then, of course, you have other redistrictings that are going on related to state house and state senate districts, right?
Right.
So that's where all the sausage is being made, and all this is going to be. There's going to be lawsuits, and anyway, that's not going to be decided for a while. So, the Alabama political reporter this week, our old buddy Josh Moon.
Yep.
He says, if you want to fight political corruption, start at the ethics commissions. They're the ones charged with doing it. And he goes into this big elaborate explanation about how Steve Marshall took pack-to-pack transfers which you're not supposed to do under Alabama law, was kind of hiding this dark money or whatever you want to call it.
735,000.
That article's from 2018. He didn't just write that yesterday.
$735,000.
Yeah. So anyway, he gives you their names and numbers and tells you to give them a call, Mr. Ripp.
Right, I'll do that.
Right. So I guess we'll go ahead and do an update, and I'll let you get to the Lagniappe article in a minute about it. But we had a hearing on Monday. We thought we were going to be arguing our amended petition for writ of mandamus against the Alabama Ethics Commission. Mr. Ripp had filed 3 previous complaints in which all of the alleged bad actors claimed the vote abstention defense. And, of course, that's exactly what our State Ethics Commission director used as his defense when accused of giving his children scholarship money from a trust where he was a trustee.
$120,000.
We also thought we were going to be defending ourselves against the motion to dismiss. And at the end of the day, I'll let Mr. Ripp read the article, Nowhere Fast.
Nowhere Fast in Lagniappe. This is update to exactly what Harry was just talking about, the writ of mandamus lawsuit targeting the ethics director. It's going to be reassigned to a new judge. The plaintiff in the lawsuit against the director, Thomas Albritton, and Alabama Ethics Commission will have to wait a little longer to see if ours, complaint has standing after the Montgomery Circuit Judge recused himself from the case. Baldwin County Consumer Advocate Paul Ripp filed a writ of mandamus against Albritton with the help of Harry Still and against commission members in July. And Lagniappe reported how Albritton serves as a director of a charitable trust, that's the Mabel Amos Memorial Trust, that has paid at least $120,000 toward his children's college education. Albritton explained away charges of unethical behavior, be sure you're listening to this, by saying that he abstained from any voting involving scholarships for his own children. But Ripp argued Albritton remains in violation of self-dealing, which are provisions of the trust. Now, there's 3 trustees, so what Mr. Albritton is saying is 2 of them voted to give him the money, and he just abstained. However, it might be mentioned that the other 2 received money too. So it's going to be interesting as it unwinds. The lawsuit seeks to reopen as well 3 previously filed ethics complaints by the Ripp report, and those targets in Baldwin County, alleging that Albritton disregarded the complaints without investigation after the subjects apparently did the exact same thing, abstaining from a vote on the matter. More specifically, those complaints were the Fairhope Airport Authority, members Jack Burrell and Ray Hicks at the time in a lease rigging scheme, members of the North Baldwin Utility for purchasing private property for the benefit of the board member and the Bay Minette mayor. Yet, I wonder if anybody in Bay Minette is listening, Bob Wills, and former Fairhope City Councilman Robert Brown for the no-bid construction contract that he got with the Eastern Shore Art Council. Plaintiff believes that these complaints were dismissed without investigation at the discretion of Albritton, where the alleged bad actor abstained from voting on the matter. The writ reads, plaintiffs praise that the court will conduct an emergency hearing and issue a writ of mandamus directing the Alabama Ethics Commission to reopen these specific ethics complaints and further order the director, Thomas Albritton, to have no input or supervision over these specific complaints and the reimbursement of court costs and attorney fees. For its part, the states argued that Ripp made a claim and lacked subject matter jurisdiction. In the court of hearing Monday, the state had a pending motion to dismiss. Judge Johnny Hardwick said he had read the complaint and was intrigued by the case, but cited his appointment to 2 other ethics cases as his reason for recusal. The judge went on to say, I would like to delve into these issues. It's a very interesting case, he said, but given the nature of the case, I think it might be better practice for me to recuse myself and have it reassigned to another judge so either the Ethics Commission, ourselves or Ethics Commission, wouldn't feel slighted. So we're going to be waiting on that. For the record, Mr. Still and I did confer, and we did not have a objection to the judge. I mean, we were not requesting that he recuse himself, but we do respect his decision. So we are going to go into the overtime on the writ of mandamus now, so we'll see where we go with that. But you can rest assured, ladies and gentlemen, we are nowhere near the end of this battle.
Do you miss anything, Raines?
Sounds good to me.
All right.
All right. What? So, in some international news, President Biden is in Europe to attend a climate summit and took a tour of Rome in an 85-car motorcade.
85 cars.
He met with the Pope today. It's their 17th meeting, and he wanted to talk to the Pope about women on birth control being able to take communion.
Oh, I know those people in Rome just love that 85-car motorcade going through Rome.
I mean, it's bad enough. I remember when any of the sitting presidents would come to Houston. Traffic's bad enough, but any sitting president would come to Houston. You get caught on the road, you're there 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's happened twice. Now, I'm in Rome. I'm a Roman, and I don't know if you know much about Romans, but they kind of feel like they're better than all other Italians.
Right.
And they're hosting the G20. I mean, I just parked my car.
Right. You ain't going in
Cobblestone
cobblestone
What's the point of
streets.
getting out
Yeah.
on vacation that week?
Yeah.
Go to Naples or Sicily or something, or anywhere but Rome.
I was
you
there.
think traffic bad when the president shows up. This is G20, man.
Yeah.
There's like 18 of the 20 there.
Yeah.
So you can imagine what a complete cluster screw it is trying to get around Rome right now.
Well, I went there when none of that was happening for over a week, and I've never got in a car. I must have walked 50 miles, and I can't even imagine all those little small streets accommodating an 85-car. The Romans are going to love them.
So, Raines, what's the play here? This has been in the works for a while, and it was just time to drop it, or diversion?
You know, there was an episode of The Wire. I don't know if you guys watched David Simon's masterpiece, The Wire.
Oh,
on
yeah.
HBO. But there was a part where they were having problems with the quality of their heroin. And Stringer Bell, who was the number 2 guy in the drug organization, he was in community college, and he's in an economics class. And he asked his professor, he goes, what do you do when you have quality, when you have quality control, QC issues with a product? And he said, it's easy, just change the name of the product. You go with rebranding. That's always a solution. And Stringer Bell said, that's a great idea. And they renamed their heroin product, and it started selling again at the same quality. I kind of feel that way about this whole Facebook name change thing. Stringer Bell was just ahead of the curve on it.
But anybody who's seen Ready Gamer 1 or Gamer or any number of these alternative virtual reality simulations knows that these things always end up being dark and misused, and
well, it's anything else. Facebook
it's like TikTok being used by drug dealers. What can you do?
Facebook is still making millions of dollars a day, but they are not making the millions of dollars that they used to be making. It is definitely on the out. This is the first step in the downslide of a company is rebranding, and Stringer Bell got shot. So it all ends up in the trash one way or another.
Well, let's do the numbers real quick. 45.9 million infected in the U.S. with SARS-CoV-2 with 745,565 deaths.
So we are about to hit 50 million infected.
And no one has resigned.
And 750,000 deaths.
And my ear's still ringing.
Yep.
And we still don't know where the Mu variant falls on the infection scale. And that's kind of what the Southeast looks like right now. These are hot spots by county. Last week, this week, you can see no deaths and only 85 cases this week in Baldwin County. And the current level of community transmission is moderate, so it is not over. The city of Orange Beach had a big wing ding down at the beach last weekend. met with much fanfare, and I think it again highlights the the real life problems that we have with only having 2 bridges onto the island, right?
Right.
So, do you guys know what's going on with Mr. Kennan and crew
And Kraft?
Yeah,
Right. They're bickering over the bridge.
that's correct. And we'll watch a little video on that real quick.
Transportation officials say negotiations with the toll bridge owners continue tonight, but if middle ground isn't met soon, they'll open the new bridge project up for bids. Tonight, the clock is ticking toward major changes at the Baldwin Beach Express toll bridge in Orange Beach. A plan by the Alabama Department of Transportation to build another bridge free to use less than a mile east was set to begin before it was put on hold in July, as ALDOT granted Orange Beach Mayor Tony Kennan 3 months to negotiate with the toll bridge owners, the Baldwin County Bridge Company. Kennan's request includes calls for the construction of another lane, expanded toll booths, and a reduced rate for locals. That time has nearly come and gone, and tonight, ALDOT Representative Tony Harris tells NBC 15 News they're allowing discussions to continue for now. But, quote, our goal is to find a way to relieve traffic congestion on Highway 59. If no other viable solution is identified, we are taking steps to place the ALDOT Bridge project in the December 3rd bid opening. The delay sparked controversy in Gulf Shores, with Mayor Robert Kraft slamming the idea, saying 3 years of negotiations with the toll bridge owners were fruitless, and another bridge is desperately needed. Kraft also pointed out the city of Orange Beach's financial stake, as the city makes 30 cents per car. Mayor Kennan fired back, saying the money only accounts for 2% of the city's revenue, and moving traffic safely is the number one priority.
So did you catch that?
2%. That's surprising. I thought it was more than 2%.
The money never gets made on the tolls. The money's in the overruns.
Yeah. So little jabbing back and forth, and so I believe this is called. This bridge is going to be down close to Cotton Creek. You're going to go down County Road 4 to get on this bridge. Mm-hmm. It'll be between the two where the two existing bridges are now.
Mm. All right.
So,
Sheriff Joe.
Yeah. So this is what the people of is it Maricopa County?
Yeah.
Arizona. Yes. This is what they get for having a grandstanding asshole for a sheriff. $100 million in payouts
for being the tough
for
sheriff.
Cruel and unusual punishment and conditions and
right.
Yeah, and for those of you that don't know, Maricopa County ain't exactly flush. You know, that isn't a county with billions and billions of dollars in tax revenue. That's a county with a couple of $100 million. So this is a big chunk.
Big hit. Big hit. Hope the other sheriffs are paying attention. Speaking of other sheriffs.
Speaking of other sheriffs, you ought to be learning a good lesson about this. So, in our outro, we're going to play a little video for you. But for time constraints, we'll just talk about it here. It's the most we've ever had Baldwin County Sheriff, other agencies looking to fill open positions. So 30 open positions.
If he offered a bounty, if he offered a bribe to come work there, like the governor of Florida did, said, hey, if you don't want to take your vaccination, come on and work on some of my murder squads. Everybody's going to Florida to get that. So maybe House needs to offer a couple $1,000 or at least a pawn shop credit. You know, come on down, work on my murder squad, and, you know, we'll hook you up. We need some out-of-town folks.
I can't imagine why nobody wants to work for Sheriff Mack. I wonder what it could be.
You think he's putting up the same propaganda that other people are about not wanting to work at McDonald's?
Well, do you think it's kind of like who wants to snitch for the drug task force when people get hung by seatbelts, and then you have a major pedophile ring busted up, and one of the key witnesses disappears, and nobody's even looking for her?
Right.
Speaking of crime and punishment,
I think his day's coming, to tell you the truth, and I believe Katie Britt is pulling up on him.
I hope so. And, of course, Joe Bonner is still in the running to be the president of the University of South Alabama, although no one can figure out what his educational credentials might be. And, Paul, it's time for the Ripp Report, man.
Well, the Ripp Report this week has yet to be written, but I could go into the Lagniappe and that if you want me to.
Well,
right
I thought
now.
you talked about district.
Well, I am. That's what it's going to be written about is the comprehensive plan in Fairhope and districts, particularly proposed district number 8. Number 8 is a new district that they're trying is in unzoned areas, and you can find it proposed district 8 on Facebook, but they needed like 200 signatures for the petition, and I think they've only been doing this a couple of weeks, and today I was out there with them. I got 26, I think, and they went to 208, so they now have the petition signed. They have to clarify that all of those are registered voters. They'll probably get another 10 or 20 just to make sure. Then that'll be turned in, and then we'll be getting a date to vote on it. But Lawrence Road is another district. I believe that's District 35. They're looking to rezone it. So you're starting to see this now completely the reverse of years ago where people did not want any zoning. Now they see the dangers of being in an unzoned area. If you're looking at the map, you see the gold or yellow. That's the Point Clear area. And
it is zoned. That's District 19.
That is now, no, I believe it's 10, isn't it?
10. Oh, there you go.
10. And then the green is 8, and you can see how sporadic that is across the area. And then you can see the black area is Fairhope, which is equally sporadic. And that's the thing I notice is, first thing in your comprehensive plan should be that you get your zoning a little bit more straightened out than the way that it is. It's just all over the place. You don't know when you're in Fairhope or out of Fairhope proper. So I guess you go by zip code. But I am happy to announce that Clarice Hall Black, she led the proposed new District 8. And they went over today over the 200 mark, which is a very good indication of where it might go. I can tell you that the people in the neighborhood where we were very supportive. So we'll see where that goes, and we'll be carrying a lot more information on it. As far as a comprehensive plan in Fairhope, I wouldn't waste my time, folks. We've been to 4 or 5 of those. They had a comprehensive plan. The biggest offender of the comprehensive plan in Fairhope is Fairhope. So, and the entire city council as well as the mayor there were all put in by hardcore developers. You could just look at their contribution list and see that. So it's them to say that they're going to have a comprehensive plan and think a little bit more about this. I think what they're going to be doing is accommodating the developers more than anything else. So pay attention to District 8. If you live in there, you can look on the map or you can go to the Facebook site, Proposed New District, and see it there.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. In Lagniappe, everybody get their Lagniappe free at the newsstands. It has a little bit of everything in there, quite a bit on sports this week, as well as a music venue. And speaking about music venues, quite a few of us heard about the gentleman that fell off the Hard Rock Cafe and Casino parking deck and died. We're finding out now that was drummer Winton Baines. He's 45 years old. He's known on the Azalea City music scene and was well-respected percussionist. A drummer left this mortal world on Friday, October 22nd, after accidentally falling from the Hard Rock Casino parking garage. According to media reports, witnesses said he was at the casino celebrating his birthday with his wife and another couple. They returned to the car, and he jumped up on a supporting pillar, lost his balance, went over the edge, and was killed. And very, very sad. It just goes to show you sometimes.
How many 30 plus times have I seen you do something that could have resulted in that range?
Well, no, that's what I mean. Really, think about it. you know, and here he just back in the parking lot. It must have been horrific for his wife and his friends. So our deepest condolences to them. Pardon?
Paul, you think that's horrific?
Well,
what sound does a drummer make when they hit the ground from a parking garage?
Well, I think he landed actually in the bay. I mean, in the harbor.
So it's probably more like a jazz snare then.
yeah, really. But that had to be,
God, that's horrible.
Really had to be a lot worse for them. And then talking about something else that goes, want to get into a little bit more horror here. Damn the Torpedoes by Rob Halbert. Grateful it wasn't my time. This would be a good read for people. It just goes to show you Winter lost his life, and another accident here with Rob Halbert. He was in a small boat and fell out of the boat. The driver lost control of the boat. Now, any of you that have been in small outboard engine motors know that if you turn it really, really hard to the left or right and you've lost control of it, it thing can almost spin on a dime. And that's what happened. Came back, ran across him. Sounds like he had some really horrific wounds. They were very concerned about infections and of that nature, which they should have been in that back bay water. But sounds like Rob had a come to Jesus moment and is appreciating his life, his wife, and his kids a lot more than that day. So just be grateful. I'm grateful it wasn't Rob's time. Good luck to him.
Absolutely happy for that. I'm glad that my friend Rob Halbert is recovering. And I really studied on making some terrible off-color jokes at his expense, but I decided instead to just use a really outdated one. Just because he wrote this article doesn't mean that he's fully recovered. Family and friends and people that know him, please keep that in consideration. And much like Gabby Petito, he ain't out the woods yet.
Right. And Rob and Lagniappe, Gabe, they've all really been kicking ass here this last year on some very good investigative reporting, so we need Rob to come back. The other one, you already touched on it, was the Beltway beat with Jeff Poore, and that was about the vaccine mandate. And then those of you that want to read something a little bit different, you may address her as Her Imperial Grace Queen Cotilia Benson Milner Meadows.
All you need to know is you need some brick dust and some salt, and you can whip her ass all day long.
De La Pound, or Queen Co for short. Queen Co is a spiritual royalty.
And she gets a lock of your hair and you're done.
Yeah, but she's not the kind of pop spiritualist that buys bundle of sage at Target, or the kind that self-proclaimed nobility and answers to yes, queen. The Queen Co is recognizable worldwide, believe it or not, in the South, in the West Indies, in Africa, and her viral TikTok channel as the sovereign queen of the spiritual practice of hoodoo. So if you want to know a little bit more about hoodoo, there's a great article in there by Allison Shepard, and you'll find out about hoodoo.
Brick dust, and
Paul, can we get one more yes queen for the listeners?
One more what?
One more yes queen.
Yes queen. Yeah, all right. Another article that I thought was pretty interesting is research shows art enhances intelligence. Exercising your creative challenges to us to see the world differently stimulates curiosity and makes us seek new solutions or offer new expressions of what is within us. And that was by Mobile Opera General Director Scott Wright. I do believe that. I think that art may increase intelligence, but I can tell you that one of the things that I think is one of your best educations in the world is traveling abroad, going to other countries, meeting other people, and understanding how big and broad and a world this is that we live in. That's about it on the Lagniappe. I do encourage you to go get one. There's no way we can give it justice through a few minutes like this. you can get it online and you can get it mailed to you. So if you want to stay up with who the real crooks are and be entertained at the same time, know about football and music, then get yourself a lagniappe.
So, Raines, we have empty shelves. Holiday shopping is going to be – nobody's getting the PlayStation 5 this year. That's just how it is. But you can't get a new tag that looks god-awful, Travel Alabama.
I saw those, yeah.
And I saved this one just for you, Raines. I figure you didn't see this, but talk about a Halloween surprise. So a bunch of kids over in Mobile get off the school bus, and the damn alligator comes out of the storm drain like it.
That's hot.
That's pretty good.
I'll tell you, one of the highlights of my childhood was when I was about 8 years old. My mother and father woke me up early one Saturday morning and said, "Come on, we got to get in the car. We're going to go see this." And I'm like, I'm wanting to watch cartoons. And what are we doing? We go to my grandparents' place, and my grandparents' place out in North Biloxi, they had a small branch. I mean, I'm talking a branch that ran along the side of their house. Those of you that don't know what a branch is, that's a place where at high tide the bayou will make real wet, but it doesn't keep water all the time. And the road they lived on had a little steel culvert going over it. Apparently, an alligator had come up during high tide and gotten stuck in that culvert, and the county was out there with a truck and a wrangler and was going to get that thing out. We showed up, and I know that when you tell a story from when you're a kid, everything seems a lot bigger than it is. And when I tell you that thing was the size of a dinosaur, I'm not kidding. I was blown away by how big it was. But I'll tell you, there are photos of it, and there's documented proof of it. That alligator was 17 feet long.
Oh, my God.
It was huge. I mean, its tail was like that big around. And the noises it made when they hauled it out of that drain pipe, it got its snout stuck in that drain, in that culvert. And they drug it out with a chain and a come along. And it took 8 or 9 people from the county to get it hauled up on a flatbed truck. And it was one of the most terrifying and exhilarating things I had ever experienced. And to this day, if somebody tells me, get in the car, we're going to see an alligator get pulled out of something, I don't care what I'm doing. I'm getting in the car and I'm going to see it.
I'm pretty sure this alligator got away. I don't think he was.
Dang.
I don't think he was trapped or anything. He was gone. So.
I saw a couple in Belize that scared me far more than any shark I ever saw in all my years of diving. I mean, you talk about dinosaur looking. I know what you mean, Raines.
So, inflation.
Yeah.
McDonald's hike prices to offset wages, supplies. Caterpillar may hike prices again, experiencing production delays, and that's one of our major U.S. imports, finished goods. Caterpillar, major global export. So, as the world devolves, the city of Gulf Shores is going to use $9.7 million in BP funds to build some kind of a park behind the Gulf Shores High School in what I thought was a protected wetland.
Well, the Cousteau came down, Cousteau's son, not Philippe, but the other one, and this is supposed to be a eco-friendly studying of the marshes and everything. So this is, and it does go with the BP funds as developing something like this. It's better than Trip Pittman getting $750,000.
Is it
Big P money?
You sure he's not involved in this?
Yeah, that's right. He might be the new director.
You never know. All right, Mr. Russian, you got any final thoughts for us? What did Biden? What was the final position for the president as he left the country on his spending plan? Or is it whittled down to $2 billion on the social side?
1.7
trillion.
And I'll have more to say about this next week because it looks like we're going to get pushed to a vote on Tuesday. I'd like to see it clear the House Tuesday, which means it'll be in chambers of the Senate by Thursday. And I'd like to see a vote on it and ratification of the bill by the end of the week. And I think that's a great way to come back in the summit, and we'll take it however we can get it at this point because, by God, it ain't the way we wanted it. But,
right.
when you ask a ugly girl to prom, there's 2 out of 3 chances that she's not going to end up better looking than when you asked her. But there's that one.
The open positions at once haven't created a public.
All right, so let's listen about the sheriff real quick, and we're out of here.
All right.
Public safety issue yet, but this is the most amount of jobs he's seen open since he's been sheriff. If you've ever thought about a job in law enforcement, now may be a good time to apply.
We currently have, with our sheriff's office, over 20 positions in our corrections center for a corrections officer, and we still have about a half a dozen positions for deputy sheriff.
Baldwin County Sheriff Hall Smack says the jobs are open, and so far, these positions have been tough to fill.
It's the most we've ever had. It's the most open positions, I think, that we've ever had, certainly since I've been sheriff.
Some longtime employees retired this year, adding to the staffing problems, but Sheriff Mack says other factors have contributed to the recent shortage, too.
We also had some additional positions that were approved by the county commission. However, we also have had difficulty in filling some of those positions because of the amount of qualified applicants that we've had to apply.
The lack of help hitting smaller departments in Baldwin County like Summerdale, where they're struggling to fill 2 positions, and for a department this size, that's a big deal. Sheriff Mack says right now the lack of employees hasn't caused much disruption, but it's something he's watching closely.
If the numbers were to drop, we probably would have to make some adjustments. But right now we've been able to handle it. The key is going to be able, as everything else in Baldwin County, is just keeping up with the growth and meeting the increasing need that we have here in the county.
Sheriff Mack says you don't need experience for all of the jobs open. They do offer training. In Bay Minette, I'm Blake
can't
Brown,
run for sheriff.
WKRG News 5.
Well, I think you're going to see there's going to be a surprise announcement next week when he announced that Katie Gutierrez-Reed is the new master of arms for the Baldwin County Sheriff's Department in charge of all the guns. If she needs a job, by God, that job needs her. So if anybody wants to know who that is, go ahead and Google it.
Right. I also heard from a beautician this week that it was far harder and took a lot more training to be a beautician than a deputy sheriff. I found that a little alarming.
Well, I think the Baldwin County Sheriff's Department has made that kind of shit obvious over the last few years.
Yeah.
High stepping turkeys, and you know what I say about high stepper. No step too high.